As we all as we all know that AI has become a game changer in research, and with it comes a great responsibility to use these powerful tools ethically. Over the next 2 days, we will delve into some key aspects of AI in research, focusing on its ethical implications and best practices in conducting systematic literature review. We have an exciting lineup of sessions, and I hope you are ready for an engaging learning experience. Without further ado, I would like to invite our principal, Professor Santosh Patkar sir, to deliver the welcome address.
Good evening. I, Professor Santosh Patkar, Principal of Saraswat Education Societies, Siodhara Kakulo College of Commerce and Management Studies, Mapsa, Goa, pleased to welcome you all to our 2 days workshop on ethical use of AI tools for research and systematic literature review, organized by our college. Research plays a crucial role in higher education, enhancing the quality of education, which is a priority for all stakeholders involved. This focus ultimately benefits both students and society as a whole. Research is primarily conducted by scholars with the guidance of their mentors. It is vital that all aspects of research maintain authenticity and accuracy. Researchers must approach data collection, analysis, and reporting with sincerity and integrity. While earlier analyses were performed manually, the advent of the statistical software has significantly improved the accuracy of the research findings provided the underlying data is reliable. We now find ourselves in the era where artificial intelligence is transforming the research landscape. Machines are capable of making decisions, but it is essential to prompt them correctly. A literature review forms the foundation of research, allowing scholars to identify the problems through thorough reading, observations, and analysis of existing studies. AI can expedite this process, enabling the quicker access to relevant findings. However, despite the advantages AI offers, the researcher must uphold ethical standard in their work. Gaining the knowledge from years of research is invaluable, and while completing a PhD within a specific time frame is important, a deep understanding of your chosen topic is even more critical. I would like to extend warm welcome to our resource person, Dr. Shalini Sahani, trainer and founder of Coach Scholar. We are grateful for her acceptance of our invitation to lead this online workshop. I am confident that her expertise will greatly benefit our research scholars actively engaged in the research endeavors. I would also like to express my appreciation to our convener, Mr. Kavir Shirodkar, for his efforts in organizing this workshop. Best wishes to all participants, and I hope you gain valuable insights from Dr. Shalini Sahani's expertise. Once again, a warm welcome to each one of you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, Professor Santosh. I'm really grateful that you invited me. And I'm also thankful to Dr. Kavir also, who has shown so much faith in me and he has invited me to conduct this session. So I'm really honored that you have invited me. So I am sure that I would be able to deliver as per your expectations. But yes, let me just listen from the participants also towards the end of the workshop in case if there is something which I can improve upon. So
Yes,
with your
ma'am.
blessings, I would also like to start the session without delaying it further.
Yeah, just a small introduction of yours, ma'am. Our vice principal to university. Just ma'am. Yes.
Sure.
Yeah. Thank you so much, sir, for the insightful and inspiring welcome. It has set a wonderful tone for our workshop. Now, to introduce our distinguished resource person, I would like to invite our Vice Principal, ma'am, Smruti Burger, to introduce the resource person. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Disha. Good evening and very warm welcome to all of you. We have assembled here this evening to participate in an e-workshop entitled Ethical Use of AI Tools for Research and Systematic Literature Review, being organized by our college, SAS's Sridhar Kakulo College of Commerce and Management Studies, MAPSA. And the resource person of the workshop is Dr. Shalini Sahani, Coach Scholar. The workshop sessions include identifying research, topic, and related literature, systematic literature review using AI tools, and bibliometrics. Friends, I have the pleasant duty of introducing the lead trainer of today, Dr. Shalini Sahani, is an academician with over 15 years of diversified experience in teaching and research, and is a founder member of Code Scholar, an edutech venture set up by some of the best minds from education and technology domains to provide effective guidelines to aspiring doctoral students through dedicated research methodologies through online workshops that are specifically curated and crafted. Dr. Shalini is an international trainer for PPA, personal profile analysis, human job analysis, and emotional quotient from Thomas Assessment. She's well versed in various statistical tools such as SPSS, MMOS, BiblioShiny, Mendeley, and MaxQDA. She provides training on various software to postgraduate students and research scholars of various disciplines. She was a resource person for conducting sessions on various topics like systematic literature review, bibliometric analysis, qualitative and quantitative research designs, hypothesis testing, mixed method research designs, and thesis writing. In her many hitherto conducted training sessions, she has taught subjects like HRM, OB, marketing research, organization development, and performance management system to BBA and MBA students. Dr. Shalini has published papers in national and international journals of repute, such as Sage, Springer, Gate, and ProQuest that are indexed in Scopus, Web of Science, and ABDC category of journals, like the International Journal of Consumer Studies, FIIB Review, South Asian Journal of Human Resource Management, and Prestige Journal of Management. She's an editorial board member of the international peer-reviewed journal, Business Management and Strategy. She has also conducted MDPs for organizations like Adani Ports, Parle-G, and Mensur Consulting, an apt person and an appropriate session. Thank you, Dr. Shalini, for obliging us. And on behalf of our college, I welcome you very warmly. I will also request all the participants of the workshop to take full advantage of the knowledge and expertise shared by our esteemed resource person. This is a wonderful opportunity to learn and grow. I encourage everyone to make the most of it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for such a nice introduction. And I will try my level best so that I can meet up to your expectations. Thank you once again. Thank you so much.
Yes. Over to you, ma'am, for the session.
So I would just share my screen first and then we will start. So just wanted to check on the protocol of this workshop. Ma'am, how is the protocol? Are participants allowed to ask the questions in between, or should I take the questions towards the end? How do you want to keep it?
Ma'am, let the participant ask the question at the end, ma'am. If you can allow them in middle, ma'am, it's up to you, ma'am. Not an issue with it, ma'am. Okay, but I already sent instruction to all the participants to ask at the end of the session. Note down all the questions and ask ma'am at the end of the session. Don't disturb any flow of the session. Okay.
All right.
Yes.
All right.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
All right. So today the topic is basically the literature review using ethically AI tools. So now we must have seen a lot of AI tools which are really into, it has become a fad to use the AI tools these days. But before we use these AI tools, we must be aware that to what extent do we need to use these AI tools? And the very basic question which comes to our mind is that, is this practice ethical? And the next question which comes to our mind is, do we need to acknowledge these AI tools which we use for our doing a literature review or maybe the analysis or maybe, writing part also. So this is all what we will be discussing everything, but main focus of this workshop is systematic literature review. So it's like I have planned these two as, the first I will be conducting and talking about literature review and the systematic literature review in detail. So towards the end of today's session, I'll be introducing you to 3 or 4 AI tools so that it facilitates you in collecting the data, in assimilating the data for SLR. So because I don't want to first start my session with AI tools, because reason being, because if I start using the AI tools in the beginning, the flow of or the understanding of the SLR, which I feel is more important than using these AI tools, will get disrupted. So I would request the participants to first understand what is systematic literature review, what is the crucial steps which are involved in conducting an SLR. parallelly, I will try to introduce few tools with you, but how to use them, because using AI tools is very easy. They're very, very user friendly. Even if you know the names of the tools, that should be sufficient for you to use them in future. But again, the kind of information which we extract using these AI tools, we really need to check that also, right? So let's first begin with some introduction of literature review, and later on I'll switch this PPT to systematic literature review, and I will introduce AI tools in between the session itself, right? So in case if you have any query which you feel is very important that you need to really ask me, you can always put it in the chat box. I will keep looking at the chat box, and if I feel that it is important to take it at that point of time, I will definitely take it up, right? All right. So welcome once again, and very good evening to everyone who's to the participants and the organizations. So let me just begin with first slide of the day. I hope the slide is visible to everybody.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So let me put it on the full mode. So now we all know that how many types of research articles are there these days. The moment you enter your, PhD batch, or the moment you start working on any topic, guide or your friends or peer pressure, probably they ask you to publish. The first question that comes into your mind is, now what needs to be published, whether it is a qualitative paper, quantitative paper, review paper, or a conceptual paper, right? So I'm not going to dwell upon any qualitative or quantitative paper. I'm going to talk about the review papers, because I feel that this has become actually a fad these days, that everybody wants to take a review paper in the beginning of the PhD thesis, which again is very, very good if you do it religiously, because it is a very, very tedious process. I'm not discouraging you from taking it, but if done properly in the beginning itself, I mean, the kind of research which you can do is enormous, right? The kind of research gaps you can come up with in the first phase of your PhD, or while doing a research on your topic, is going to be phenomenal, right? So let's first understand these review papers, the kind of review papers we have, right? So the first I would like to tell you is that any paper, whether it is a qualitative paper, whether it is a quant paper, whether it is a review paper, every topic requires the need to identify research gaps. Unless and until you don't identify the research gaps, the story is not complete. So the best way to identify the research gap is doing a systematic literature review. Okay, so now the point here is that what is systematic literature review? The word says systematic. If you look at this word itself, it says systematic. So that means we are collecting the literature. We are collecting the literature systematically, right? Systematically means when you have some system aligned, there is a proper process by which you have to undergo, so that you can collect the articles where each and every step needs to be monitored and copied, right? And noted. You have to make a note of it, whatever you are doing. It is not that if you have a corpus of 80 articles or 200 articles, how did you come down to those 200 articles? There has to be some note which needs to be there. And then whatever the corpus you collect, that also has to be organized properly, systematically. That is why it is known as a systematic literature review. At times, you will also hear it as a structured review, right? That's another name which is given to this type of systematic review, which is a structured review, right? So now let's first understand a simple problem of HR digitization challenge, or HR analytics adoption. Now here, first thing what you have to do is you have to work around your topic first, right? So now how do you work around your topic? Number one, the first step which you have to take is obviously the literature review. So once you look at the literature, how to identify the gap? So we have taken this SLR now for the last 4-5 years. This has been adopted by everybody, by almost every university, and every scholar is almost doing a systematic literature review. But however, if you look at last 10 years or maybe more, people were not following the systematic literature review. So what they used to do is they either used to follow chronological order. What is this chronology? Chronology is what was done in 2005, then 2006, then 2007, and then 2008, 2009. But the point is, they were also doing it, but they were not recording the events every year, right? So how the topic has progressed over the last few years, if you do it year-wise, then probably you will come to know that what all variables have been covered so far, right? So when you identify the variables, in proper eras or in proper years, then you come to know that what problem is that particular variable solving, right? For example, if we talk about HR digitization challenge only. Now, if I say HR digitization, now this HR has become digitized only, let's say, 10 years back, or maybe if we talk about AI in terms of AI, how AI has evolved, then probably just last 3 to 4 years, which has actually taken the seat, right? So HR was all the manual process, right? Or at the most, it was handled by SAP, where we need to had a performance appraisals and everything, training calendars made and everything, all was controlled under the SAP, right? So one or two, these procedures were made under SAP, and this EJAC digitization was happening. That was a simple thing which was happening. But what happened eventually was, when it became digitized, everything was sorted through these AI tools, right? So like these days it is happening. We are already listening that when we are saying HR analytics, now HR digitization has basically is nothing but now we are doing HR analytics, where we are monitoring or progressing the growth of each and every employee in our organization, right? So by what the problem here is this being adopted by everybody? Is this being adopted by even by the HR department? To what extent this has been adopted and applied? Do they actually understand what is to be measured when they are measuring an employee performance? Or if they are measuring the effectiveness of a training program, what is to be monitored, what is to be measured, right? So all these challenges came into picture, and the problem still lies is, are they applying these HR tools or analytical tools in the right way? Right? So if you look at the HR digitization, the adoption, awareness is there, but where is that adoption? So that becomes a potential problem. So you really need to identify that potential problem. Where is the problem? If the organization is adopting, are the employees do it the way it is to be done or not? Do they understand the scales? Because they will not understand the scale, how a job satisfaction is being measured. Whether you're measuring it on a 1 to 5 scale, or you're measuring it on a yes or no, or even through interviews or whatever. So basically, my point here is to make you understand that the you have to highlight the problem to start your research journey, right? Your introduction section.
There's sort of network interruption from your end, ma'am. You're not clearly audible.
Sorry, I got disconnected. I'm just starting all over again. Dr. Kabir, can you please enable my screen sharing?
Yes, ma'am. Spreadsheet. Yeah, ma'am. Just check.
No, you have to allow me to share my screen.
Just 1 minute.
Just go to security. Just go to security and click the sharing option.
Security. Ma'am. Share screen.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. Right. So my point of discussion here is whenever you are working on any particular topic, probably a systematic literature review or any topic, the first thing which you have to do is you have to identify a problem. Identify a problem. Now, you will ask me, from where do I look at the problem? Now, the first thing which you look at is the literature. You may not, even if you are a technical person or even if you are from an industry, so probably you are not into the habit of looking into the literature. So what you need to do is you need to observe what is the problem which is going around. So we are already listening to this, that AI will take away the jobs from many IT professionals and something like that. So is that a problem? Right? We're already into work-life imbalance, which is really taking the life of the people. If you have heard of this case, ENY case, where the recent this accident happened, where this 26-year-old girl died, right, because of the stress. So all these are problems. For that, you don't need to dig the literatures. If you have a problem, then also you can dig the literature. Right? So you look at the literature, that what is coming, what is it that caused that problem, and how can you solve that problem. So doing the research just means identify a problem, set the hook that this is a problem, look into the literature, that are there any evidences available? So these evidences could be anything. Now my point here is, let me just spend 2-3 minutes here so that you understand what I'm trying to say, convey to you. See, once you have a problem in hand, right? Important thing is you have a problem, right? Now, once you understand that there is a problem, you have to dig to in the literature, or you need to look at the evidences, right? Evidences. Now, these evidences will come from either the reports or your observations or some newspaper articles or from literature also, if you're into a lot of reading, right? So there is a problem. So once you are convinced that yes, this problem exists, now the reader will not listen to you. As a researcher, nobody is going to listen to you. Whether you are working in top-notch institute, the point is you have to give an evidence to this problem. Where did you find this problem? So maybe you can quote some incidences, you can quote some reports, KPMG reports, Deloitte reports, whatever, wherever that those problems are coming up. So by giving those evidences, so you hook that problem. You set the hook, right? You set the hook. Now, when you set the hook, you have multiple ways to solve the problem, right? So why you are doing this research? Because you think that there is a problem and you also have some evidences which are related to that problem. Now, when you are, as a researcher, now your purpose is to give a solution to that problem, right? This thing is give a solution to that problem. Now, when you give a solution, there could be multiple ways. You can do it through qualitative research. You can do it through quantitative research. You can do it through a review also, review paper, right? That is what I'm going to dwell upon. These are the two different ways where you collect a primary data, either through interviews or some objectivity or some, surveys and things. But here you talk of certain things and you come out with a model, collecting the previous information, and you suggest people to go and look beyond the problem through future research directions, right? So my point here is every SLR should, please note this word should have future research directions, right? And this SLR will also start with your research gaps. The flow will be you identify a problem. There could be a problem, link it to the research gap, make research objectives which are related to the SLR. And this SLR should suggest certain model, adopt a certain model or a framework to answer the questions which you have posed, and then suggest some future research directions which can be adopted further on that particular problem or on that particular topic. So the basic idea here to do an SLR is to provide a reader when you are systematically organizing the previous data. So your purpose should be that your paper should talk about all important parameters which are related to the topic, and a scholar should be able to get the maximum information from your systematic review. He should not have to, he should not be going here and there to look for and collect for more information. So it should be so vast, right? That is why you would have seen that SLRs usually have more than 3, 4, 5, or even 6 or 7 authors, because it depends on the kind of data you are getting, right? So, we are not discussing actually how to write a paper. So that was just to make an introduction that having a research problem or identifying the research gap for any such paper is the utmost important thing. Now, why do we do a literature review, right? I've already told you the most important thing is to identify the research gap. However, there are other things also, like the methodological insights, recommendations, and identification of variables and relationships, and the research questions. But once you have this, your job is done, right? Now, another important question is, which often comes to me, when should we conduct the systematic literature review? What is the right time? Is the topic when, it is just introduced or it is very new, can we do a systematic literature review? Or if the topic has become very old, can we still do the literature review when there are so many reviews available already, right? So let me just answer this question. I hope you've understood my question. What I'm trying to say is, I'll just write it down also for you, just to make you understand. Now, it is less literature, right? And more literature. When the topic is very old here, very old topic. We say that the topic is saturated and less literature available. We can talk about, let's say, ethics in AI. Right? So it is a very, very new topic. Do you think, will it work? So I would like to have your thoughts on this. You can just write it in the chat box. What do you think? Can we do an SLR when the literature is not very vast, or when the literature is very vast? So can we do the SLR in both the cases or either of the cases? I would request you, the participants, to please respond in the chat box. Monica said both. Okay. Anyone else? Both cases. Okay. Pragati says it's difficult to do SLR in new area. All right. Anyone else? Anyone can give some more idea? So I would like to ask Rajeshwari and Monica ji. So if you can just unmute and tell me that why do you think that SLR is possible in both the cases? You can just unmute and answer.
Hi, ma'am. I feel the scope is more.
Okay.
And I also feel that in any case, there will be some direction for us to research. Whether it is over-researched or even a new topic, I think there will still be some area where it is not researched. So I think both the cases, it can be researched. On the literature, this thing can be done.
Any other thoughts?
Yes, ma'am. Actually, when we talk about systematic literature review, so as you said, it is like exploring the topic in depth. So whatever is there, whether it's a new topic, it's a trending one, or it's an old topic having a lot of data available, there is a possibility of exploration in both the cases. Hence, I said both the cases.
Okay. Let me just take you to my another slide and just discuss this in little brief. Taking you to another PPT just to discuss this. Just look at the slide, what it says and what does it mean. Now, in a less mature field, when I said that the topic is very new, right? So that means the field is less mature. You will not have too many articles to discuss, right? So when you do not have too many articles to discuss, that means the topic will be more scattered, right? And probably it is most of the questions that will remain unanswered. And probably if we talk about ethics in AI, then management discipline, if you talk about the ethics, they're going to talk it differently. If you talk about the behavioral sciences, people are going to take it differently. If you talk about the medical sciences, people are going to talk it differently. If you talk about engineering ethics, it is different. So what happens is every discipline has got different kind of research questions and the knowledge is really scattered. So what happens is when the literature is less mature, you have more chances of publication when you write an SLR. Because at that times when the information is so distorted, see what happens is when you have such kind of, I'll explain this thing to you. Actually, what is the scenario? Just understand. I'm saying less, right? And on the other hand, I'm saying more literature or more articles, less mature. And here we say the topic is more mature, right? Less mature means we have less articles. Less article means we have less evidences to prove anything. When I say less evidences, less evidence means less quantitative articles as well as less qualitative articles. And we get evidences from quantitative. Because from qualitative studies, we only get propositions. This is more scientific, supposed to be more scientific because this is based on hypothesis testing, right? And this is based on subjective data, that is the interviews, right? So when you have less data or the field is less mature, you have less number of articles. That means that articles which you have either will be from qualitative or quantitative or mix of both. And whatever the mixture is, evidences are less. So when you have less evidences, that means theories will not be there. Less methods would have been explored, less, right? Then less, that topic would have been discussed in fewer contexts or fewer industries or fewer countries, right? So when everything is less and you assimilate that particular knowledge, that what is happening in each discipline, this is more publishable. This is more publishable because you're trying to assimilate that information which is more scattered, which is not readily available, and you are assimilating and providing it to the reader as on a platter, right? So on the other hand, when you talk of a more mature field, now when you talk of more mature field, for example, if we talk about job satisfaction, right? Topics like job satisfaction, we talk about work-life balance, we talk about performance appraisal, we talk about HR trainings or something, or HR practices or something. What happens is more theories available. All methods kind of have been applied, qualitative, quantitative, mixed method, conceptual, right? And lot of review papers. So now when you have more mature field, it will be from all over discipline. So when it is from all over discipline, you cannot take all the discipline in one go and do a systematic literature review. In that case, you need to have a niche, right? Suppose if you're doing a work-life balance, or suppose if you're doing a job satisfaction, or suppose if you're doing a masstige marketing, right? So though mass marketing is not a very mature topic, but still it is still being studied for last 10 to 12 years now. So now you have to talk about it in a niche sector. You can't talk about masstige marketing in all the disciplines. You have to zero down your things. That means you have to apply the filters here to come down to your corpus. And what does corpus means? The number of articles which you will review. Right? So that means whether it is a less mature field or whether it is a more mature field, you are eligible, or probably you are able to do whatever you want. Is this clear? Right? What is the good time to take an SLR? You can take an SLR at any point of time. However, the first and most important thing is, if it is less mature, what is to be given importance? That is for a researcher to decide and see. If it is more mature, then you have to adopt a niche topic. Within job satisfaction, try to align it with somebody. Work-life balance, stick to some context and then talk about certain set of people or something like that. You know, masstige marketing not as a broader thing. Metaverse not in a broader thing, because now metaverse also you have got so many reviews, but still people are still writing on metaverse, right? So first and foremost important thing when you are proceeding with a systematic literature review. Now, next is my next my next question to you is, what is the time, or let me say, how to identify a gap for a review paper, right? One is the problem, right? Which we've already discussed, that without a problem, you cannot proceed with any kind of writing. That is there. You've identified the problem and you feel that that problem is huge, and you find that there are many reviews available. There are many reviews available and they are published in good journals, right? A star, B category, or maybe good ABS categories also. So do you think it is good to go ahead with a review, or it is not good to go ahead with the review? Please write it in the chat box. I'm waiting for your answers, please. No idea? It can be done. Okay, I'll repeat the question. My question is, how to identify a gap for a review paper? We already know that the research problem has to be there to write any paper. So suppose you already have a problem, but you want to write a review paper on that particular problem. So now, should you go ahead with that review paper or not? And how do you decide that I should go ahead with the review paper, or I should not go ahead with the review paper? What do you think? I hope my question is clear to everybody. Am I clear with my question? Even if you don't know the answer, no problems. I'm here to help you. But in case my question is not clear, I don't mind repeating it. Is my question clear to everybody? Please write it in the chat box. So the question is clear. All right. So what do we do in such cases when we know that the problem is there, but there are many reviews available? Now, here, in this case, what you need to do is, you need to identify, now the second step is you identify a gap in the previous reviews, right? We have already discussed the first section of the art paper, which is the introduction section where you talk about the problems. Now we are discussing the research methods, how to write a RM section of an SLR paper, right? So when you are writing the research methodology section, or maybe even in the introduction also, when you have to say that there are no previous reviews available, you just can't write this line that there are no previous reviews available, therefore I am writing this paper on this particular topic. No, that's not the way to do it. So what do you basically do? So I'm sharing my article with you just to show you how you start with your. I'm taking the things simultaneously, but so that you can just listen. Let me just first talk about. Is my screen visible? I'm showing you table 1, past reviews in the field. If you look at this, see, can you see this? Just look at each column. This is a paper on sustainability practices in healthcare industry, right? Sustainability practices in healthcare industry, and was published in A category journal. So now there were many reviews available when we started writing this paper, but we wanted to write this, right? So what we decided that we need to look at the previous reviews which were available, and we looked at all the reviews which were available, and we made a table. So you will find this kind of table in many good articles. So first is Scherer and Daring, then 2008, 13, 14, 18, 19, 20. First, keywords used. Look at the first row. What are the keywords which have been used for sustainability in healthcare? Then what are the kind of databases which have been used? Look at the second row, right? Then what is the most important is type of review. The most important is the type of review. You notice here? The type of reviews could be, now reviews are of different types. One is the systematic review, bibliometric review, meta-analysis, right? Scoping review, all these kind of review papers are available. So if you look at this the third row, all the reviews are scoping review and the systematic review. There is no bibliometric review, there is no meta-analysis, and there are systematic reviews. And these systematic reviews, the last systematic review which happened was in 2018. And we are in the year 2024. That means the last review which was written was almost 5 years back. So that means in last 5 years, the topic must have progressed, because sustainability is a very in thing and people are trying to adopt these sustainable practices in all sectors. So that gives me a window. Yes, this last review was available, but it was in 2018, and all the reviews are systematic or the scoping review. So what am I? So first gap I have identified. Second gap I could have identified from here also, right? What kind of words have been used? So we can also look at this. Then second gap, we can also talk about the databases used. Now, if you look at this, most of the searches, see, this is PubMed, ProQuest, Medicine, Embase, Cochrane Library, then PubMed, right? PubMed, Engineering Village, PubMed, Scopus, Web of Science, and Google and Scholar. So every review which was done was not done with any Scopus, Web of Science, Dimensions, or Elsevier or Taylor and Francis, all those kind of databases which are commonly used, right? So that gives me another window to do the SLR with other databases, because there is always a chance that these they might have missed on few potential articles which are indexed probably in Scopus and are not in Web of Science, or the vice versa, or with any other journal. Are you getting my point here? Then you can also check what is the aim of the review? Why did they do the review? What was their problem when they were doing the review? Is your problem different from what they are talking about? You can talk about that, right? Third thing. Now you look at this number of articles. Now, when you say number of articles, see the number of articles here. Are your articles more than this? Or have they adopted any quality criteria or not? So you look at each of the article and see whether any quality criteria has been adopted
Ma'am, you are not audible.
Ma'am lost the connection. She'll be joining. 1 minute. Yes.
I'm really sorry. Bombay, it's raining heavily, and today we have a really very bad internet connection. So, really sorry for this problem. So, am I on? Is my screen visible to everybody?
Yes, ma'am.
So, right. So, what I was explaining now, another last section is analysis part. Now, what happens is, what kind of analysis have they adopted? They have just adopted a very simple thing, coding and descriptive analysis, concept mapping, that we all do. But we can see that there is no framework which has been, I'll tell you the SLR methods also how to do it. So we can look at some different to do a review, right? This define a gap for a review paper by reviewing the previous article. See, 2023 also there was one article published with 89, right? And they followed this. Can you see towards the end? What is the kind of analysis they are doing? Antecedent, process, outcomes. This is called an ADO model. So we came to know that this was there. And in the last column, if you can see, I have written here our study. So I have 10 to 12 previous reviews available, and we got the review published in 2023 despite of having one review in 2023 with a category journal, right? Still, so we tried to differentiate our paper from the review paper which was published in 2023 only. So the major differentiation which we were trying to make is from this paper, because this paper was in 2023 and we were also in 2023, published in 2023. So my major emphasis was how I can make my study different from this article, right? So I tried improving on this series. This paper had Scopus and Web of Science. We did 5 databases. This paper did SLR only. We did SLR and bibliometric review. This focused on how AI technology, and we did not focus on AI, we talked about the sustainability practices. So the focus becomes absolutely different. This paper had 89 articles, we had 81. This had 2000
Ma'am, kindly unmute yourself.
So, so in the next section, what we do is, once we have realized that these are the differences which we can make from the previous reviews, we identify the type of SLR, right? So first, before going to the type of SLR, let's first explore and do the first process of going to the database and identifying the articles. So I'm taking you to Scopus database. Let's talk about metaverse. Now, the first thing in the SLR is to identify the keywords. Now, from here, where do we get these keywords? Very important question. What you need to do is you look at the previous reviews which have been conducted on this topic, right? And look at the words which they have used for identifying the articles, right? So for example, metaverse. Now, metaverse is like we talk about 3D, right? We can say AR also, right? Or we can say VR also, or virtual reality. Like there could be many. So I've just taken 3 or 4. Now, whatever I have added here, or can you see this or here? Or these are called the Boolean operators. We have or, not, and. These are the 3 main Boolean operators which we use. Or is used in between those words which are synonyms of each other. For example, here. Now, 3D, AR, VR, virtual reality, all these are the synonyms of metaverse. So we write it as such. So suppose if I search this, and I'll just search with this first. And suppose if I want to do the metaverse or do a review of metaverse in tourism. So what do? I close this bracket here. Now, tourism is not a synonym of metaverse. It's a separate word and a different word. So I write a second Boolean operator, which is called and. And I write here tourism. Can I write? Right? And tourism is also written as travel. Right? Or I can also write it as travel and tourism. Am I right? Right? And I close the bracket. So now my topic here is metaverse in tourism. So whatever words I get a synonym of a typical my research, I use that and I just press on search. How many articles am I getting? 8,470 articles. Now, manually, it is not possible to do the review for 8,000 articles. So what do I need to do? So that means so many articles have been written on metaverse. Now, metaverse is also not a very new topic because every discipline is talking of metaverse these days, right? But still, we need to zero it down to a certain number of papers so that we can do the review. So what do we do? The first thing is, very important in SLR papers is to establish the timeline. You must have seen that in every article, there is a timeline written 1970 to 2015. Another paper, same topic, will have a review, let's say from 2000 to 2015. So what is it that makes the difference? Why somebody takes a base as 1975, other person takes a base of, let's say, 2000. So what is the difference? Why do they do it? Right? And why it is there? Let's understand that. Now, you see this time filter here. One is saying range, right, here, and it is going up till here. And one is saying individual. So you go to the individual, right, and say show all. Now, 2025 is the latest paper we are getting. However, you have to scroll down. And the first paper you're getting, it is of the metaverse in 1925. Why in 1925 also? Because we're talking of 3D, AR, VR. So maybe 3D was there in 1925 also. But actually, are we talking of that 3D? So what we do is we click here, we click, and the last few years you will have only very minimal articles, 1 or 2, not more than that. Can you see that? The number is only 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 3, 2, 2. So till, you will not find. So 1991, you can see there are 10. Otherwise, you will find that there are not many articles. So you can always review them manually, the last ones, right? So let's review them manually. Are they related to our topic? Our topic is what? Metaverse in tourism. And we click here, show all abstracts. So this is only talking of travel. It is not nothing of metaverse. Similarly, the use of an AR, and this is also talking of some argon gas, right? So not related to our topic. It is also, again, not top reactivity series. So again, AR is taken here as argon gas. Similarly, here also, right? We go to the next topic, next article. Everywhere argon has been picked up if we have written AR, right? Can you see that? So that means all the previous which we have limited to, these need to be deleted. I'll go say show all. So now what I'll do is, I had ticked from 1925 to 1979. So I'll clear all that, clear the filter. Now I need to check from 1979 onwards. So I go back here again and go to show all. And now I pick the articles from 1979. Right? 1979. Let me pick up few articles again, and there are not many articles. So I can see limit my articles up to 1986. And I look again. Right? So this is 1986. So let me go to the last article. This is 1985 only. They're also talking of tourism. This is also not related to our topic. This is also not. So that means, see, this is talking of nothing, tourism. No, no. That means we can easily say that even up to 1986, there was not even a single article which was written on metaverse in tourism, right? Are you getting my point or not? I hope I'm making sense to you, right? So 1986, there was nothing. So let's pick here now. I'm picking this and I assume that now the articles will be more from the metaverse side. And I go to apps. Still not. Can you see? Still not. So wherever my point of discussion here is clear, I'm clearing this also. That means metaverse, as per our acquaintance, as per my acquaintance rather, I will say that this was introduced somewhere in 2015. So let me check these only 2015 articles. There are too many, right? So still let me go for 2010 first. And I assume that 2010 metaverse probably would be there. Still not. So my point of discussion here is whenever you get a metaverse and a tourism word in one abstract, that is going to be your base year. And then your time period would be from that particular year till today. Is that clear? Right? That is how you set your timelines. So I'm clearing everything now. And just to, let's assume that our range, let it be from 2015 or rather 20 onwards, because we know that I'm setting this for 2020-25 and just Now we are getting this virtual reality and travel, right? And if we go down, we're getting tourism, and the roles of destination, virtual influencers, right? So we're getting this, right? So that means we're on the right track. 3D format and travel, virtual reality and travel, right? So we know this. Now, the next stage would be, let's say we have achieved the timeline. Now we will go to a next filter, which is source type. Now you must have seen that all these articles, they have this inclusion and exclusion criteria. I'm coming to that inclusion and exclusion criteria also. So now we try to set our inclusion and exclusion criteria when we zero down to our articles. What could be my inclusion criteria? Articles should be from the journal, right? Only journal publications. Then it should be only a journal article, no conference proceedings, no editorials, no editorial communication, no book series, no book chapters will be considered, right? So I will click here. Just I will say source type, it's going to be journal. Language also, I will keep an inclusion criteria that it has to be an English publication in English. And one more I can have is document type, which is article. And I say limit to, right? So now, by applying all this criteria, how many articles am I getting? 2,107 articles. Now, even if you look at this, now it is again not possible. Harsha, there is no minimum or maximum number of years in the range of time period to be selected for SLR, right? You can have an SLR for 50 years, you can have an SLR for just 10 years also, right? So there is no hard and fast rule. The point here is that you should try your best not to miss any potential article. That is the best thing to do, right? So alternatively, when suppose even if you have an access to one important database, even either Scopus or Web of Science, you should always look at Google Scholar towards the end just to see you have not missed out on any potential article, right? So now we are left with 2,107 articles. Now what do we do is, let me just reduce this number to more. I'm just doing it so that we can download the sheet. So I'm just taking from 2022, right? So that the articles get reduced further. But however, for you, suppose if you're doing really on this, what you're going to do is, you will extract this sheet as it is, and you will extract the CSV from the Scopus. If you have Web of Science, you will extract .text file. Okay, so you will extract .text file. Here, any doubts so far in extracting the data? Please ask. No doubts? Is everything clear? Okay, so I'll move ahead. Right? So next is I go to export and I download CSV file. And I select all information, just clicking here, and I know how many articles. 1,2,107. I'll select only 1,000 because download quickly. Okay, so export. It will take just some time. In the meantime, I can discuss this types of SLR. Let the papers get downloaded. Okay. So now, once we have our sheet ready, SLR sheet ready, now you have seen that I have extracted a data of 2,106 articles. Can you do a review of 2,000 articles manually? Not possible, right? So what do we do? Next filter criteria which you need to apply is quality criteria. There is another important criteria which I missed out. I must tell you that also. Let me just apply that also. Of the discipline, subject area. Now, this is, we're already seeing that this is such an elaborate topic and every discipline almost is adopting this, right? So what we can do is we can just stick to business management and accounting. And I just say limits, right? So now you should apply this criteria because it is not possible for you to do that. So now how many articles do we have? Just 446 articles. And now let me just export this again and export the CSV file. So how many filters we have applied? We've applied the filter of a discipline. We have applied the filter of right? So I'm exporting these 446 documents. Now export 446 is still doable, right? Instead of 2000 articles or 1000 also. So we need to reduce that number to some hundreds so that we are happy to get that sheet and do that. So now once that is done, another filter which you need to apply is quality criteria, right? Now, what is this quality criteria? Which means that our journal articles should be published in ABDC category of journals or in ABS category of journals or have an impact factor greater than 2. You can have either of the three quality criteria or you can have and also. This also, because if suppose if the articles are in thousands, so it is not possible to take all 1000, 2000 articles. So what do? You apply more stricter criteria, right? But and within ABDC also, you can only look for A and A star, or maybe at the most you can have B in case if the articles are less. But first try with A and A star. In case if you feel the number of articles have reduced a lot, then you pick up B also. And then in ABS, you can have 4 star in the beginning as A and A star. But in case if you think that the number of papers have really reduced, so add 3 also to it. And stick to this criteria, impact factor greater than 2 if you want to. If you do not want to, even these 2 are sufficient. Or you can have ABDC plus or impact factor greater than 2, or you can have ABS or impact factor greater than 2 or 1, whichever you want to keep, depending upon the number of articles you are extracting. For an SLR to be conducted, you need to have articles greater than 40, minimum number, right? Which is acceptable. You can say that this is a threshold. However, I have seen in medical journals where the review is just done for 15 articles or maybe 20 articles or at times even lesser than that also, because their reviews are different from our management discipline, right? So they do it differently. So SLR usually in the management and social sciences, behavioral sciences, it is usually greater than 40, which is acceptable. However, I have done a recent review on family incivility where the articles were just 37, but it was accepted in A category again. So that is how we do it if you're looking at the number. Now, another thing which we need to point here is once we have the number, we need to talk about the type of SLR. First is the domain-based SLR, theory-based SLR, meta-analytic, method-based review. When I say domain-based would be anything. It could be, suppose consumer behavior is a domain, right? So if you're doing a research on any particular topic and you can stick to only consumer behavior domain, right? So that becomes a domain-based SLR. However, the process remains the same. There is no difference in the process. Theory-based SLR is when you adopt and see how the theories have been used in various disciplines. For example, if you're doing a review of theory of reason action, TAM, right? Maybe UTAUT, maybe theory of planned behavior or whatever. So all these, how they have been used in the previous articles and which discipline, how they have used and how these theories have evolved over the years. So that becomes a theory-based SLR. Process remains the same as I have shown you. Now, meta-analytical review, I'll tell you later. Method-based SLR means what kind of methods have been adopted. If you want to just see qualitative methods, quantitative methods, or maybe just PLSM you want to talk about, that how it has been adopted, structural equation method, modeling, how it has been used. So method-based SLR. Process again remains the same. So when you adopt a domain-based review, it is further of 5 types. First is the structure, right? The structure, there is proper structure, very, very structured review we are doing, where we talk about top 10 journals, where the articles are published, top 10 authors kind of a thing, who all have published in this particular domain or the particular theme. So very structured kind of a review. Framework-based review is where we have these ADO, TCCM, and TCM. So we have ADO, which says antecedents. A stands for antecedents, decisions, and O stands for out. Okay, so you try to identify the variables, which are antecedents, decisions, and outcomes. Then another is TCM. TCM stands for theory, context, and methods. So you identify from a set of articles, the theories, context, and the methods. And TCCM is theory, context, countries, and methods. TCCM. TCM is this one. So if you include countries, it becomes TCCM. ADO is antecedent, decisions, outcomes. There is another also, which is 5W. What, when, where, why. If you're answering that, then that is also framework-based review. The simple review, where do you not follow any structure, is just a simple review. Now, bibliometric and meta, I will just explain this. Hybrid review is when you integrate SLR with biblio. Hybrid review, you're doing 2 reviews. One is systematic literature review, and you think that the papers are more than 100 in a systematic literature review, so it is not possible to organize everything through a systematic. So what you do is you adopt another approach with it, which is called a bibliometric approach, right? So SLR plus bibliometric, that also becomes a integrating 2 reviews, hybrid review. Another is you can always have a hybrid framework. That means you apply ADO TCM framework, right? That is also hybrid framework review. Okay. Now, okay, the next task is whatever data or whatever corpus of articles now you have. Suppose now there are 486 articles. The next task is to extract the data. Here comes the role of AI tools. अभी तक जो आपने किया, whatever you have done so far has to be done by the researcher. But now this becomes a very, very tedious thing. So now is the role of the AI tools. Now let me show you which AI tools can you use to get this. Let me first introduce you few more tools before we go on extracting the data. I'm just going to. Now I told you that we can apply a quality criteria, right? We can apply a quality criteria. Now it is very, very tedious to go and look at every paper, that whether it is there in the ABDC or ABS, and you download the list and then you look at the journal and then you find out. So there is a tool which is known as, you can see here, Rapid Journal Quality Check. So I'm just writing here, Rapid Journal Quality Check. Just type this, and the first site which comes to you, just open that, and you will find this kind of a symbol, a beaker kind of a symbol. And on my screen, it is visible as remove from Chrome because I already have it. right? But those who do not have it, if you do not have it, you can just say add to Chrome. You can just say add to Chrome. So once you add to Chrome and you search for any topic, let's say I search here for metaverse. Let's say metaverse in tourism. I'm searching for metaverse in. Can you see that this tool is giving me, this paper is A star. Next, it is also giving me an ABS ranking, which is saying that it is 4, ABS 4, and it is also giving me a Scopus quartile ranking, which is Q1. So I can very well download it from here and keep it in my database. Now I don't need anything else. So simple as whatever articles you're getting in your database, you just write the article here and press search. It will give you that where all it is indexed. Right? Can you see all the articles? If it is not indexed anywhere, it will not come here. Can you see here? Q1A. If it is not indexed, it will not come. Q1, Q1A will not come. Right? So this is the first tool which you really need to have. Even if you're not doing SLR, this is a must tool because then you know that what kind of paper are you reading? Are you reading a quality paper or not? I mean, you should not read just any paper. Make sure that you're reading good quality papers, right? So this is the first thing you must have. Another tool which you must have is, I'm showing you a few tools here. Skyspace and Elicit. These are two very important tools. You can also use the Skyspace Chrome extension. I'm just showing it to you, Skyspace. Skyspace works for 10 papers. However, if you want to use the Elicit, Elicit is also a very good tool. These two tools are very good tools to be used. However, this is a paid, but very few things are available as for an unpaid, but they're not very expensive. Suppose if you're doing a review and you just have to pay, I think, 800 or 1000 rupees for a month, I think. So you can always, once it is finished, you don't need to subscribe it again. But most of the task is done with just 800 rupees, right? Yes, it is Rapid Journal Quality Check. Okay, so I'm sharing these tools with you now. Let me just take you the first tool I'm introducing is, one is Elicit. You can just write elicit.com. I'm just sharing the URL in the chat box. And there is another, which is Skyspace, Control C, and these two. There's another which is known as Research Rabbit. I will not be using this, but I will be using it tomorrow. But you can just, I'm just giving you a few tools to explore for tomorrow also. Just shared connected papers also. These two will be used for bibliometric tomorrow. First two will be used today for exploring the papers. So let's go to first Skyspace. Once you go to Skyspace and just press enter, here you can also add it to your extension. If you look at my this thing, I already have, if I open any paper, I'll just show you. You see here, I have just opened one paper and you can see this launch Skyspace cell. Can you see? Suppose now I'm reading you, what you can do is just write here Skyspace Chrome extension. Right? So Skyspace do hours of research in minutes, Chrome Web Store. Right? So I already have it, so I don't see it here removed from Chrome. It is just add to Chrome. So you just add to Chrome as an extension and it will get added. One more thing, you need to click on this extensions. You can see this button, gray button where my cursor is. If you click here, you will see all the extensions which I have with me, right? So whatever extension you want to be displayed here in the Chrome bar, you just have to pin and unpin it. I'm also using this Google Scholar button. You can see here, you can also have an extension of Google Scholar button in the Chrome bar. So that will also help you to access paper from wherever site you are. I'll show you that also, right? Then you can have the sky space. I will just pin it. Just look at my cursor. Just look here on the top. I'm just pressing it, pinning it. So can you see the sky space? This is sky space. Can you see? Right? Then this is site also. So I'm getting this site also. There are various Chrome extensions which are available, which helps you in reading an article, right? Then there is another extension which is good, Unpaywall. Unpaywall is, suppose if there is any article, you must be using this Sky Hub. Most of you must be using it. But there is another, this thing, Unpaywall. You can always use that to get the papers, full articles. So this will show, if you have this Unpaywall, this will be green in color if that paper is available as a full text. So I'll show you as we progress further, right? So I have just pinned them for the time being, but I'm right. So just to show you, but I don't want to, let me just pin that for the time being. Okay. So I've pinned it. You can see all these extensions here. Can you see? So you also pin the sky space here. Now let me show you how it works, right? So suppose if there is this paper, and this is also multidisciplinary perspective on emerging challenges, opportunities, and agenda for research, practice, and policy. So let me go here, right? And let's see if I want to understand what this paper is all about. So I go here and I just click on Skyspace. So Skyspace is getting ready to answer your questions. Can you see? It is getting ready to answer my questions. It has taken this paper from there, and now I just want this AI tool to answer my paper, and please explain the abstract. What are the contributions of this paper? Explain the practical implication. And you see the questions also are being suggested by the AI tool itself. Okay. Can you see? And you can also ask the AI tool to give you find the related papers, right, on artificial intelligence. This is a review paper on AI. Okay. So let's see. First, let's generate the summary of this paper. So it will give you the summary of this paper. Just see how it works. You don't have to read the full paper. This paper discusses the transformative potential of AI, various industries. It emphasizes the need for interdisciplinary research to address limitations in AI, processing and the importance. The authors explore the impact of AI on society, particularly regarding workforce transitions and the necessity. The paper also identified challenges. So it is giving you everything. So now let's ask some other question. What are the contributions of this paper? Right? Will give me the contributions also. Insights from experts on the significant opportunities, highlights the shift in academic focus. The research identifies key themes, providing this, emphasizes the need for transparency. And now I would like to talk about the future research directions, future work suggested in this paper, so that I can also review. I can also write a review paper. So let me see what is it suggesting me. I can take up the topic AI in either qualitative, quantitative, or as a review. So it is suggesting me the future research directions. The paper suggests exploring the development and deployment of AI in specific contexts. So how the AI is deployed can be taken up, right? So unique factors influencing AI adoption, which is very good. Otherwise, I would have to read the whole paper and see where the FRDs have been given. Similarly, next, gap between AI and its human context, particularly in understanding the implications of deep neural networks. Avoid stifling technological advancements, right? So all of this. Suppose if you want to ask that 13 more, suppose if I want to ask them, let's say all the questions are particularly, let's say find related papers. So it will help you in finding the related papers also from here. If I go to find related papers, right? So it will give you, can you see here? It has given you some related papers. Can you see AI-driven data analytics and information sciences? And all this is free. You don't have to pay anything for this, right? Enhancing organizational efficiency through the. So what I'm telling you is, we are discussing the AI tools, are they ethical or not? So there is no harm in using such information. What you're doing is you're just doing a smart work rather than a hard work, which is acceptable. So you're saving your time. But when you ask AI to write, then it becomes a little problematic. However, you can always take the help of AI in improving your writing. You give them the ideas, they will give it back to you, but then you write it in your own words. You can always, because Grammarly, see, again, is a tool. You always do the corrections through that, right? So there is no harm in using that. But how much and to what extent you use, that is for you. So the smart work is required. When you see all these articles, and you just have to click from here. Right? Now, this paper. Now you look at this paper. I have opened this paper. And can you see this paper is locked on just on the right hand screen? Just watch my cursor, please, and move your eyes on the right hand side. And you can see this gray color lock. Can you see? If this gray color lock is green in color, that means this paper is available in full text or as full text, right? However, this paper is not available. And see, it is also giving you these citations. If you click here, cite, gives you the cite report also. Can you see? Cited by and references one publication. View full text as though it is not available, but I don't think it will be available. We can just check if it is available, right? We can just go here and see. It is not available, right? So that is why it has gone to the publisher page. If it was there, it would have opened it. However, it is taking you directly, so you don't have to open too many sites. It will simultaneously take you to the other sites, right? So this is, I will just explain this tool once more. So we were here, we were explaining this. Now let's see, let me just take you to, this was how to read the paper through AI tools. Now, you can also chat with paper. Whatever you want to ask. Let's say if there is any, let's see what kind of tables have been generated. Can you explain? I'm writing here this figure to be explained. Can you explain figure 1 on AI challenges scope? Let's see if it does our task. Yeah. So it is explaining that as well. You see? Right? Social categorization of challenges, social and cultural barriers, operational challenges, regulatory and ethical, whatever it has been explained. So this has been explained the figures also. It also helps you in explaining the tables, not only in the quality review papers, but in the quantitative papers also. Download any quantitative paper and ask for the particular table or the figure which you want to explain. You can always ask the AI to explain the model. You can always, let's say, if you have any quantitative paper, I'll just show you. Let's go back to the home page first. Yeah. Now see, you can, from here, the fastest all-in-one AI tool, so students search or ask a research question. Now, let's say if you already have a research question in mind and you want to ask that, let's say, how does family incivility influences well-being employee well. So I've asked a question. Let's see. It also gives you an improved version of your research question itself. While I was typing, you could have seen that there were 3-4 questions which were coming. And it gives you answers from top 5 papers. I've asked the question, right? So it is giving me the questions. And now you look at it. See? And with the citations. Now the point here is, even if it is giving you the citation, please check whether the citation is correct or not, because this is all based on the large language models again, but you really need to check whether the citation stands true or not. So that is the hard work that needs to be done by the researcher. AI can just support you, right? But these citations, my humble request that please look at the references before you put them in your papers. All the citations, please cross-check it once, because most of the times they are not correct, right? However, it can be how it can be used further. Now, I can always add the papers. I can add maximum 10 papers in one go. Suppose if I have uploaded few papers. Now it has given me some information. Can you see here? It has given me 4-5 papers. I have asked the research question and it has given me 10 papers, and it can give me more also. But as of now, for you just to understand, yes, it is free. It is not a paid one. However, if you go for the advanced versions, it is free. It is paid. But the basic things which I'm showing it to you, you don't have to pay anything. Right? Now I'm showing you how to extract data. I have just asked the question and have got some data, but I can also upload my PDFs, because what happens when you're doing an SLR, you already have the articles with you. You may be having 10, 20, 40, 80, whatever article numbers you have. So I think it takes up to 10 articles in one go, but again, it is saving a lot of time. So you can always upload those 5 or 6, 10 articles in one go and can have all the information, whatever you want. Now look here, what I can do with it. It is giving me a summarized abstract. I'm just scrolling, and it is giving me the results. And you see, it is giving me the independent variables which have been used in the study. You see here, work, family, conflict experiences, background variables. Then it is also giving me the dependent variables. Now it is also giving me an option, because I am doing the Elicit and Skyspace. These are the 2 tools, the best tools. I'm explaining it to you. So far, there are so many AI tools, but these 2 are the best ones which can be used in Elicit. If you take the paid version, obviously the result is better, but the free versions are also good. So suppose I want to also look at methods used, right, in all the papers. So I'll add this column. I'm adding. You have reached the maximum number of columns. See, that is where the plans come. So cancel. So what I do is I can just delete few columns which I don't want. So I'm not looking at the results so far, so I can delete this. I'll remove this column. I'll remove results so that I show you how to add. Right? So I'm just adding 2 more. So I can add the methods used. So I'll add one methods used. See, the methods is getting added. And let's say I also want to see the population sample, right, on whom the study has been conducted. So can you see the methods have been added? Data was collected through a self-administered questionnaire employing a time-lag structure. Non-probability sampling was used. Similarly, online-based questionnaire, scale measuring this. However, see, this is not a very good information, because method used. Now, research methods also should have been given along with it, which is not coming, whether they have used regression or ANOVA, or it is a qualitative paper or what, that is not coming, right? So it is giving you the sampling. Here it is used, data analyzed using SEM-AMOS 21, multi-group analysis. So again, see. So it is just that you're getting the information, but again, cross-check has to be there from your end, right? Now you look at this population. It is giving you this sample size also, on what sample they have studied, online-based survey. Sample size again, sampling method, sample size, Again, systematic sampling, population sample size, so it is giving all that information. But the bad news here is you can only have 5 columns. So what you can do is you can download it and use it again and again, or you take a paid version where you can get as many things you can get it added. But jitna information abhi hai, this is all free of cost. You don't have to do anything. And you can have others also by, suppose if I delete this, now I can add anything. Let's say I would like to add future research directions. This is important. It will give future research directions from all papers. Can you see here? You select top 10 papers and you note the future research directions from all those papers, and then you can always build a new idea that what research you want to go ahead. Right? So let me go back to the home again. You see here? It also has AI suggestions to expand notes to paragraph. AI writer is there. Discover new papers for your research. You can also do a literature review from here. Whatever, get insights from top papers directly, or you chat with the PDF. You upload a PDF and then you can chat, as I've already shown to you. Then if you look on the left-hand side, you also has a paraphraser here. Just give a text to it, try a sample text here, and it will paraphrase for you. How the flow you want to be more creative. You want an academic flow, you want a formal flow, or you just want it a very casual, what kind of flow you want. Just type whatever you want here and just paraphrase. Okay. Here, so this is one tool from where you can extract. Another tool is Elicit. Ask a research question. So can you suggest what are the factors responsible for AI adoption in, let's say, personal financing, financial planning? Right? You can see here, see, extract data from PDFs and list of concepts. So let me first find papers for you. Give you papers. It works the similar way as the Skyspace works. It is giving you a summary of all the 4-5 papers. You want to upgrade, you want 8 papers, you need to upgrade. It is giving you, but you need to check these references, right? A caution needs to be taken. Very important. Similarly, it gives you a summary again. Can you see here? Now you can manage columns from here again. What do you want? You want methodology. And you want, let's say, outcomes. Or suppose if you want to add something, that also can be done. Here it is, column read. So again, I told you this is a paid one. Manage columns. You want to, even if you want to add something, you can just write here, for example, theory. Theory used, but I think it will not take this. It will ask me otherwise. In case if I had not clicked on that and I just click on theory used, it will create a column for me and it will also extract the theory for me. Okay. Now, similar manner, it works in the similar manner as we have just seen. Abstract summary, methodology, data collection, data analysis. So it is, I believe that this is probably better than Skyspace. However, the efficiency of both the tools are similar because I haven't taken the paid version of both. But looking at the results, what this is giving and what Skyspace is giving, this seems to be little better because it is giving you the data, which is research method use multiple linear regression, and it is also giving you the examine factors. Similarly, here also it is giving you ISM, right? But there, when we applied that RM thing, it did not work properly. So literature review to identify, see, NCA. So you have, qualitative. Can you see here the difference between the two tools? And I move further, outcomes. Primary outcome measured in the study was the use of AI for financial investments. Outcome for end is the identification of the critical success factors, right? So this way you can actually work like, right? So if I delete this column and let's say I create a theory used column, so I'm creating it. Instructions. Here you can always instruct, check the theoretical framework used by the author and share its name. The theory used in B. Kumari, this paper, the systems approach and in systems approach. Right? It is not able to identify. Can you see? But here it is, TOE framework. Here it is giving theories related to technological innovation and disruption, TOE framework, and human organization technology fit, TAM theory. Can you see? So here my idea of introducing these tools is that you can reduce your work if you are interested in doing the reviews, but you really need to check what kind of answers this is giving. You just have to check. You don't have to extract. So that saves lot of time. Lot of time means really lot of time. Because I know how tedious this task is. I've been working on so many review papers. So it becomes very monotonous, very boring at times. So I'm not discouraging you from taking up a review because they are publishable and they're interesting. So once the data is collected and you have with you, then it is very interesting to write a review. You just have to make one template that how to go about it, right? So these are the 3-4 tools which I have introduced today. So rest of the tools I'll introduce you tomorrow. Then there are 3 more tools which Research Rabbit, Connected Papers. I will be talking about these 2 tomorrow because they are used for a bibliometric analysis, right? So let me take you back to my PPT again because I am still left with many things in SLR. So now we are talking of how to basically conclude an SLR. I have shown you to extract the data. Now the point is once you have the data with you, now what kind of data you've extracted? See, I'll show you one LR sheet, what kind of data you actually extract. So let me just show you that also. Right, so just look at these. I'm just highlighting it for you to understand. Just check this orange color row. Right? It's a blue color. So you can read here, author, year of publication, title. Then if you come here, field of research, purpose of the study, keywords used, journal of publication. Then what is the ABTC ranking? Because we are applying the quality criteria, impact factor, number of citations received, because from here only, and number of citations we normally record it from Google Scholar, right? Then you have JCR impact factor, number of citations, then sample size. This you don't require. Then maybe the sampling type. Then what is the kind of a study, whether it is qualitative, quantitative, contextual, conceptual, or review paper, what kind of mixed method, what kind of study it is. Is it longitudinal? It is cross-sectional. So I will suggest go for a detailed version for an SLR. Whatever you want to use it towards the findings will be your decision, because it is very difficult to make a sheet. So in one go only, make it exhaustive and filter down whatever you want, right? So countries examined, methods used, सेम यूज किया है, इंटरव्यूज यूज किए हैं, फोकस ग्रुप डिस्कशंस हैं, फील्ड रिसर्च है, केस रिसर्च है, सर्वे मेथड यूज किया डेटा कलेक्शन के लिए, whatever you want to do, right? Online data collection है, offline collection है, whatever it is. Then what are the independent variables? Now the point here is how you collect the data here is you have to write each variable in each column, right? For example, if you look here, green brand positioning, and another one is attitude towards green brand. So what you need to do is, suppose if another paper is also having green brand positioning as a variable, so you will just write, keep on adding one, and you will come to know which variables have been used the most. So how are you going to find the FRD from this sheet? This is the main sheet which will help you in finding the future research direction. Right? Are you getting my point? So what I've done is green brand positioning, attitude towards green brand perceived value, excess product packaging, wherever these are the articles, wherever this variable has been used, I have written one. And while going towards the end, what we do is we take a sum of all these ones. Can you see here in this last row, which I have highlighted in gray color? Can you see this sum? So you will come to know that this green brand attitude has been used 45 times. Quantitative studies are 47 and qualitative are 6. So what is the future research direction? That the qualitative studies have not been done. There are just 5 mixed method studies. So there is a large scope that people can do these kind of studies. Are you getting my point or not? Right? Similarly, if you go further, there are many variables which have been used, just one. So all these you can club them and you can identify. Can you see? This is a long sheet, IV, DVs, mediators, moderators, and the theories also. So towards the end, we also make a note of theory. I'll show you. Can you see here? Theory of planned behavior, whatever the theories have been used. See? Which paper, which theory, all these things. Right? You come to know which theory has been used how many times and which theory has not been used very often. Which theory has not been used, you can always suggest these theories that this can be used, right? So this is how basically you work for an SLR. Okay, what next? I'm sorry, I will not be able to share this sheet with you because again, this is my paper which is still to be published. It is under R&R. So once it gets published, I will definitely share this, how to do it. However, I've given you an idea. So now it is for you to take it further. Okay. So now the another type of SLR, I will just take you to the paper so that you understand how to do an SLR and how to report the findings now. I'm taking you to my paper only. So this is a paper which we just these are the research questions. So what do we know about this? How do we know? What are the emerging themes and where should the research in the domain of this happens? First is when we always say that, what do we know about sustainability practices? That means whatever has been done in the past, what are the theories which have been used, right? What are which are the authors who have done the work, which are the countries which have actually published in this context, and things like that needs to be reported. How do we know about sustainability practices? We come to know of the sustainability practices through the variables, through the theoretical work, or through the findings of the studies. So we need to answer each research question. Let's see how we have answered. One more important thing, which I think I missed out here before I go ahead with that, the Prisma framework also. Yes. I showed you how to basically extract the articles from the Scopus. Whenever you're extracting the articles from the Scopus, you have to report how the extraction has been done. And that reporting is known as preferred reporting items for systematic reviews and meta-analysis technique, right? And this is known as Prisma. There are two ways to report. One is called the Prisma. Another is called SPAR, right? This is the SPAR for SLR. This is called SPAR for SLR, and this is Prisma. Prisma is much more simpler, but SPAR is little more tedious. I'll show it the SPAR also to you. So this is Prisma. Records identified in the beginning, right? Then screening. Out of, see, 3175 plus 30 makes it 3205, and 2714 records are excluded, which could be on the basis of that we only selected the articles published in journals, and maybe discipline we have taken is business and management, and another is English. Okay, so all this have been excluded. So how many have been excluded? 3205 minus 2714 makes 491. So finally we're going ahead with 491. From 491, there are 440 articles which are again excluded with some reasons. Did not address biobanking and this thing consent, the excluded, not conducted in the US, study not obtainable. So 491 minus this makes it 51. So this is the corpus of the articles for which we are doing the review. This is also another Prisma from the medical sciences paper, where they have taken multiple databases, and from each database you have to report how many articles you're getting. This references is nothing but the number of articles, right? Based on that, so total is this sum is nothing but the total of all these articles. Then you remove, because when you use multiple databases, the first step is to remove duplicates. Make sure that you are removing duplicates when you are using multiple databases, because there will be many articles which are published in both Scopus as well as Web of Science and Dimensions and other databases also, right? So similarly, you will follow this process completely. SPAR is little more elaborative. Let me just show it to you how we did it. This. Can you see here? We just talk about each and everything. Domain is this one. What are the research questions, source type, and the source quality? Source quality means what is the kind of journal quality we have taken. Acquisition, how we have acquired these articles. And then we need to talk about period, search keywords, and everything. How did you organize the codes as the LR sheet I showed it to you? And how did you organize your framework? What method in the SLR itself you have adopted, and how you purified those articles, how many articles you're evaluating, and finally how you are reporting. Okay. So this is the process which is written. Now the first research question was, what do we know about sustainability practices? What do we know? Matlab, sab kuch batana aapko. So first we talk about the publication trend, right? Publication trend, you show that how many articles have been published in each year. So you make a graph. There is figure 2. If I take you to figure 2, it will show you figure 2. This is the publication trend, right? So you can show with the graph. Okay. Then you talk about influential articles and sources. Which are the influential articles? If somebody is doing a research on this topic, which articles one should read, and what are the sources? Sources means journals, right? Then we talk about this, and then we talk about what are the emerging themes and clusters. Now, clusters in the field of sustainability practices, there are many ways to identify the clusters. First is when you do the coding. Now, again, this is very elaborative. So I will talk about this clustering part tomorrow because I have to explain the bibliometric also. So I will not take up clustering here because there are many ways to do it. So I'll club it with the bibliometric part there tomorrow, right? So these are the clusters made. Then after that, if you look at, see, these are the clusters. And in SLR, you have to report which article belongs to which cluster. Very important. How many articles belong to this cluster? Just simple the number, total number. How many total citations? Citations received by each article from Google Scholar can be retrieved and the total sum, right? Then further, clusters, you have to explain the clusters. Next is thematic evolution. Now, what do you understand by thematic evolution? Is how the topic has progressed over the years. What is the changing landscape of the sustainability in healthcare, right? So how now you really have to be very creative when you do such work. See, look at this. I'm not saying that I have done something very great to explain this, but it is just for you to be little creative. See, we did this in 2023 and the COVID had just finished. So there were different phases, you know, when it was pre-COVID, then there was COVID time, which was very tough. And that was again related to healthcare, right? A lot of changes in the healthcare. So that was the time when sustainability practices were utmost important to us. And then the post-COVID. Again, the hospitals were adapting. Every organization was into the adaptation of all these things. So what we did, we searched, our time period was 1995 till 2022. So there was just one paper in 1995. There was just one paper in 2008. Still, we managed to do this word cloud, that what they were talking about. And there was not even a single paper between 1995 till 2008. But we had to take this, right? I will share this paper, Pragati. Right? So 1995 and 2008. And then we go on further, 2011 to 14, then 15 to 18. And this is the COVID times. 19 to 20, onset of COVID. And just after COVID, how is it? We started talking of healthcare more. We started talking of green practices more. We started adopting more, right? So trends, we could show it through the word cloud. And then we adopted TCM and ADO framework, which I told you that is an hybrid framework. TCM, ADO, TCM. It is called ADO, TCM, right? So TCM stands for theoretical understanding, theories. So which theories? You can see that all the theories have been mentioned here. Stakeholder theory, system thinking theory, right? Triple bottom line theory, which were used commonly, have been discussed very briefly. You see, just a small 5-6 paragraphs, not more than that. Fuzzy set theory, all the theories, important theories. Then we talk about the methods. Within the methods, see, TCM, C stands for country. So we also talked about the countries, how many studies were conducted in USA, Italy, India, and we numbered them. Not a very difficult thing. If you look at the paper, it looks very simple. But when you do it manually, it becomes very tedious. All this can be generated through software also if you have good number of paper. I'll show you tomorrow, right? Because that's part of a bibliometric. This we have done it. Brazil, China, can you see? And then you see, then you give some more information. 1990 to 2000, how many studies in US? 1000 to 2010, 11 to 20, 21 to 22, how many articles? So you can see how the country has progressed on that particular topic, right? And in the next, you talk about the methods. Methods, yeah. You can see qualitative methods, quantitative. Can you see now? Qualitative, quantitative, conceptual, secondary data, mixed methods, and experimental, right? And then we also showed these two, that longitudinal and the cross-sectional primary and secondary data. This for you to decide. And finally, we did this ADO, TCM and ADO. Can you see the theories we have written here? I'll just enlarge it for you. Context, countries and the population, methods. Then ADO antecedent stands for independent variables. All the independent variables, we are clubbing them together, obviously. All these grouped under one category, this one. All these variables categorized as this. These are the major categories. Can you see? Then these are the decisions which help us to adopt the sustainable practice in the healthcare, right? Environmental performance or economic performance, social performance. Can you see here? Sustainable, basically it's on 3 pillars, right? Environment, economic and social, then information disclosure also. So for these 2 things people are adopting, right? And who adopts? Decision is based on what is given by decision. So this is a ADO field, right? And towards the end, when you finish your SLR, you should always finish it with future research directions. And it is good to report it in the form of TCM only again. So you go to the discussion section and write the theories. FRD क्या हुआ? Because हमने ये क्यों suggest किए ये theories? Because these have barely been used, right? So you can suggest these theories. Context, right? Because we have already studied that which countries have done the research. So now you know where the research needs to be taken care of. New samples you can always suggest. Methods you can suggest. If you remember, I showed you. See, future researchers may conduct more quantitative with a focus on experimental designs. There was no mixed method. So whatever we have done is from that sheet only, right? There is nothing extra we have done. Antecedents to healthcare. So we have suggested new antecedents based on our LR sheet which we prepared. And we also suggested some decisions which can further help us to take the adopt the sustainable practices, then outcomes of sustainability practices in health. This is the last thing which we do in SLR. And last is social and practical implications, theoretical implications, as in any other way, right? Okay. Yes. So here I end this for today. I am open to taking your all sorts of queries, questions, doubts, whatever you have. So we'll be happy to take all that. Yes, please tell me. That you can ask the organizers, when will you share the recorded video? So organizers will share it with you soon.
Yeah, ma'am, we will share it maybe on Monday, ma'am. Yeah, thank you.
All right. Any other question related to the
Participant, if you have any questions, please raise your hand. Yeah, you can unmute yourself and you can ask.
Thank you, Dr. Abhi.
Any questions?
Good evening, ma'am.
Yeah, good evening.
Yeah, ma'am, this is Prerna here. Thank you for the wonderful session. I had a query in relation to the Prisma framework. Now, in the Prisma framework, the initial thing which comes, the step is screening of the articles. And the AI tools which we are using, as you said, can be used there. The next stage which comes, which is the quality based.
No, 1 second, 1 second. In
Yeah.
Prisma, you cannot use the AI tool.
Okay.
AI tools is used to extract the data when your corpus is final.
Okay.
When you have already finalized the set of articles, that yes, this is the number of articles now for which I want to do the review. Now comes the role of AI
Okay.
to extract the
Okay.
information. Now you need to extract the information, no?
Okay. So when we talk about the qualitative criteria to filter the articles, At that stage, we'll need to go through each and every article, right?
Yeah, for that you can use the tool which I shared, Rapid Journal Quality Check.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Thank you, ma'am.
Any other doubt? You can always also write that how do you want me to improve the session, or how was the session and things like that, so that I can also work upon my delivery thing and the content which I'm sharing with you. I would be happy to get the feedback in case if you do not have any queries. So maybe that can help me to learn something new.
If participant is not having any query, then we can wind up the session. Okay, ma'am, as always, your session was very knowledgeable and very very clarity was there.
Thank
Yeah, tomorrow, ma'am, sharp 6 o'clock, ma'am, we can start the session, ma'am.
Sure.
Okay, yeah, thank you,
Okay.
ma'am. Yeah,
Everyone.
thank you, participant. Yeah, thank you.
Good
Yeah.
night.
Good night.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.